welcome. We are continuing our series on the high priest breastplate, the camp of the saints. And so in this video, we're talking about his crown. And please forgive us for our humble attempts at representing these things, but we find it necessary to do so because we don't see anybody that is more skilled at this that's done it, where we can just do a Google search and find the high priest breastplate or find Alpha and Omega's crown with 12 gemstones on it. So anyway, we have talked about the camp of the saints. We have talked about the high priest breastplate. And in this one, we want to take a moment to discuss the crown. Now, as you can see, our view of the high priest breastplate is that the gemstones are in the cardinal points like this. And of course, if we were to take this and we were to view it flat, as you can see, what we believe is that the crown is doing the same thing, is that you have gemstones. Instead of going in a square, a head is round, in that you would do the same thing. In that you can see we have the gemstones represented. Okay, and these are according to Revelation 12. Okay, so there are 12 foundations in New Jerusalem, and basically we've placed those gemstones. The first one is jasper. Then the next one is, I forget, chalcedony, okay, emerald, okay, anyway, you could probably see them actually better than me. But we go around with the 12 gemstones in New Jerusalem, and what we believe is that that is what his crown does. Just like the high priest breastplate, okay, Christ does not have a breastplate with the 12 gemstones representing the 12 tribes. What we believe is that the arrangement here, instead of being on the breastplate, is represented in his crown as it goes around, and that the gemstones of the foundations of New Jerusalem and the 12 gates are also the gemstones on his crown. And so we seek in this video to go through how we have come to this conclusion. Basically, one of our main texts, we're going to go through many texts here, is Zechariah in the ESV, chapter 9, verse 16. It says, "In that day, the Lord their God will save them," will save these people, save them as a flock of his people, for like the jewels of a crown. Okay, so people are the jewels in his crown. People, the flock. Okay, and we've looked at how the camp of the saints, all right, is the order of the 12 tribes around the ark. Okay, and you know, he is the head of the ecclesia, and then he is going to have a crown with jewels on it, or gemstones. And we believe the same thing, that the people are represented in those gemstones. "For they will be stones of a crown," in the King James, "lifted up as an ensign on the land." So clearly what it's saying there is that the flock that he has saved and that he has gathered, they are not literally people on a crown. They are represented as stones, as precious stones, as gemstones, as jewels on his crown, just like the high priest's breastplate represented the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Okay, and so who are these people? Where do we see this? Okay, he will save them as a flock, as his people. And what it may be is that what it's talking about here in verse 16 of Zechariah 9, when he said, I have bent Judah for me, and I have filled the bow of Ephraim. So there we get Judah and Ephraim as representing the tribes, and then it talks about the flock of his people saving him. So there It could be that those tribes are the gemstones, the people of his flock that are in his crown. As well, Isaiah talks about people is his crown. Isaiah 62, verse 3. You shall be as a crown of beauty in the hand of Yahweh, a royal diadem in the hand of your God. Okay, a crown in the hand of Yahweh. So it's, again, people are in the crown. In the previous video, we talked about the camp of David and how David conquered a certain area over in modern-day Jordan, which we know is Rabbah, okay, and took from the king his crown. And we know that there is a significance of this crown because 1 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 2, and if we look closely, David took the olive tav. We have an olive tav before the word crown in the Hebrew. The word for crown in Hebrew is atara. Okay, took the crown of the king from off his head, and he found the weight of the gold that was in this crown to be a talent of gold. And there were precious stones, okay, in the crown. And it was set upon David's head. So David is a type and shadow here in this situation of Alpha and Omega being crowned, okay, with his crown. And so it's a talent of gold, and there are precious stones in it, just like we saw in Zechariah 9. Now, the other thing that's interesting is when we're here in 2 Chronicles 20, it says that Joab conquered Rabbah. Okay, and Rabbah is the old name for Philadelphia. That's right. We know of the church of Philadelphia in Revelation chapter 3, verse 7. But there was another Philadelphia part of the Decapolis, Deca meaning 10, and polis, cities. There were 10 cities. We can see about those 10 cities in the New Testament. And of those 10 cities, we know their names, we know where they are. One of them was called Philadelphia. And its location, we know. It's Ammon, Jordan. In fact, if you look up Philadelphia in Jordan, you'll see that even modern Jordan, okay, they call their capital city Ammon, but there are places in the capital city they call Philadelphia. Okay, so let's take a moment and think about this. So, David is getting this crown, okay, from Philadelphia. And we know that it is the church at Philadelphia. To the angel at the church of Philadelphia, write, these things says he that has the key of David. And then it says in verse 11, take heed that no man take your crown. So, Philadelphia being a type and shadow for us, that the very place that David got his crown, its modern name, not modern in our day, but in the time of Christ, its name was Philadelphia, okay, representing this remnant that Christ speaks to in Revelation chapter 3. Okay, so it's this remnant people that crowns him. He's crowned from Philadelphia. All right, also Isaiah chapter 28. We know in Isaiah we have the prophecies related to Christ and his second coming. And one of them is the crown. In that day shall the Lord of hosts be for a crown of glory, for a diadem of beauty, plated crown of beauty, unto the remnant of his people. So the church at Philadelphia, being those that are the remnant of his people, that crown him, he will be crowned by the remnant. The remnant would acknowledge that in the end of days, that it's all about crowning the king, crowning Alpha and Omega. He is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And he's coming on his white horse. And so we have, again, this church at Philadelphia crowning him. Okay, we have this crown of glory. And we know the significance of Isaiah 28 being the key of David. So the key of the house of David is Isaiah 22, verse 22. And that prophecy relates to chapters 13 through 29, essentially. But we even have a song, we'll put it in the description field of the video, where we crown him per Isaiah 21. So if we go back to our premise that not only does he have a crown, but we believe there is a crown of precious stones. And we got that from Zechariah chapter 9. We got the precious stones from 1 Chronicles 20. And we also have a witness in Psalm 21. This is the psalm we did a song on, crowning him. And you put upon his head a crown of precious stones. So there we go. Multiple witnesses, 3 witnesses, Zechariah 9, 1 Chronicles 20, Psalm 21, and verse 3. So that is why we have made a crown. We know the crown has a turban. As well, you know, we could also say, we don't have to pull it up and go there, but we know in Zechariah chapter 3 that we see the crown and the turban. And so this is a piece of cloth here. This is called a turban. And so what will happen is, in the more ancient times, it would be a band, okay? Some of the golden parts of the crown were very tall, like the Persian style. But they would have a turban, and we know his crown's definitely got a turban, and per Zechariah 3. And so, you know, we see one standing before the throne in garments, and the garments were exchanged for a crown and a turban. And the high priest, he had a crown, and on it it said, Kodesh Yahweh, holy unto Yahweh. And there were writings on it. So we have discussed the garments of the Lord Jesus Christ as they relate to the priesthood in his second coming. And we wanted to take the time to explain our reasoning as to why we believe his crown also has the gemstones, not just any gemstones, but the gemstones of New Jerusalem, and those gemstones of New Jerusalem, as well as the gemstones on the high priest's breastplate, would be representing the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So guys, thanks for watching. This is part of our series on show the pattern, show the design, and so that the breastplate is what we're working off on. And the theme of these messages is that the breastplate is representing the temple. It's representing New Jerusalem. And it's representing and expressing itself through various elements, in this case, including his crown. So the voice came from the throne and from the temple saying, praise our God.
Psalm 21, a song of David to the chief musician. Be exalted, Yahweh, in your strength. We will sing.